Hey everybody, my name is Angel Kane and I'm the park naturalist at Smithgall Woods State Park. And today I want to talk to you about butterflies. Butterflies can make any garden beautiful. They come in all different colors and patterns, shapes and sizes, and they all share a very unique life cycle. Butterflies are found everywhere around the world except for Antarctica. And did you know there are over 17,000 different recorded species of butterflies? That's a lot of butterflies. Butterflies have been around for over 56 million years, so we need to do everything we can in order to protect them. Before I actually talk about the butterfly's unique life cycle, I just want to tell you about the butterfly's anatomy, or the parts that make up the butterfly. Butterflies are insects. Insects are small invertebrates, which means they do not have a backbone. All insects have 6 legs, 1 or 2 pairs of wings, a set of antennae, and 3 parts to their body. At the top of the butterfly's body, you will find the head. The head is important for feeding and sensory functions. The head features a set of antennae which help the butterfly with smell and balance, a pair of eyes which can see UV light, the brain, and a proboscis which helps the butterfly to feed. After the head, you will find the middle section of the butterfly called the thorax. The thorax are where the wings are attached. Butterflies have 4 wings covered in tiny scales. Butterflies are actually part of an insect species whose name means scaly wings in Greek. These wings help the butterfly with flight. The wings in the front are called the forewings, and the wings in the back are called the hindwings. After the thorax, you will find the abdomen. The abdomen has small holes called sphericals that help the butterfly to breathe. Butterflies also have 3 pairs of walking legs that help them to move around. So no matter what species of butterfly you may come across, they will all share these same body parts. In addition to sharing the same body parts, all butterflies share another thing in common. And that is that they all started out as caterpillars. To get from caterpillars to the butterflies that we see flying around, butterflies have a very unique life cycle with 4 life stages. This process is called metamorphosis. The first stage of metamorphosis is the egg stage. In this stage, the mama butterfly flies around and looks for the perfect place to lay her eggs. Some butterflies require specific plants to lay their eggs on, so once she finds the perfect spot, she will drop her eggs. After a few days, the eggs will begin to hatch. This brings us to stage 2, which is the larva stage. In this stage, the caterpillar will eat its way out of the egg. Once the caterpillar eats its way out of the egg, it will eat the egg it came out of and the leaf that it was laid on. He will then continue to eat the leaves around him. The caterpillar is very hungry, so he'll start eating lots of leaves. As he eats these leaves, he begins to grow. As the caterpillar grows, he will actually outgrow his skin. He will then molt his outer layer of skin, called the exoskeleton, and grow a new one. Over the course of a few days, the caterpillar will shed his skin about 4 to 5 times. After the caterpillar sheds his skin this many times, you can imagine that he's very tired. So, this brings us to the 3rd stage, which is the pupa stage. In this stage, the caterpillar looks for the perfect place to shed his skin one final time. Once he finds the perfect branch, he will hang upside down in a J-shaped formation in order to shed his exoskeleton for the final time. After he sheds the exoskeleton, the chrysalis will begin to form. The chrysalis is a hard outer covering protecting the now pupa inside. Inside the chrysalis is no longer a caterpillar. It's the in-between stage. A pupa is the in-between stage from a baby caterpillar and an adult butterfly. So the pupa will be protected inside this chrysalis for a couple weeks. After a couple weeks, the chrysalis will begin to move. As the chrysalis begins to move, the adult butterfly will begin to emerge. This brings us to stage 4, or the adult stage. In this stage, the butterfly will make its way out of the chrysalis. Once the butterfly comes out, he won't look like a butterfly we know. His wings will be crumpled up and wet. But as he crawls out of the chrysalis, blood will begin to flow through his wings, which will cause the wings to straighten up and dry out. Once the wings are straightened and dried, the butterfly will be able to fly around in search of food. You can imagine after 2 weeks in the chrysalis, the butterfly is very hungry. The newly emerged butterfly will fly around in search of food. Butterflies drink nectar that is created by flowers. Butterflies don't have a mouth like we do though. They actually have a long tube-like organ called a proboscis. The butterfly uses this organ in order to stick it in the flower and drink the nectar. Did you know that butterflies can't actually taste with their proboscis though? Butterflies use the tips of their feet to taste their food. So the butterfly will fly around and land on a flower. He'll use the tips of his feet to taste that flower. If he thinks that the nectar is sweet and sugary, he will drink that nectar and then move on to the next flower. As the butterflies fly around and drink the nectar from flowers, they also help to pollinate the flowers. Flowers make pollen in order to produce new seeds through pollination. Springtime of the year is when you hear people complain about their allergies. What they're actually complaining about is the flowers producing pollen. Pollen is a fine, yellowy, powdery substance that can make us sneeze. Did you know that there are actually male and female flowers? The male part of the flower is called the stamen. This is where the pollen is actually created. The female part of the flower is called the pistil. This is where the pollen needs to get to in order for the flower to be pollinated and create new seeds. But pollen cannot move on its own. So we need the help of pollinators such as butterflies, bees, bats, and birds to help move this pollen from plant to plant and ensure that new seeds are created and new flowers are formed. Not only do these butterflies help to pollinate these pretty flowers around me, but they help to pollinate our crops. They help to grow corn, beans, squash, anything that you would find in a garden has been touched by one of these pollinators. So pollinators are pretty special. Because spring is the time that new plants are growing, spring is a great time to see all kinds of butterflies. One of the most common and widespread butterflies you will find in Georgia is actually the official state butterfly, and that is the eastern tiger swallowtail. As I mentioned, butterflies can be all colors and patterns. The male eastern tiger swallowtail can be distinguished because it has a yellow body with black tiger stripes. The borders of the wings are black with yellow patches, and the male also has a long black tail with a blue patch. The female eastern tiger swallowtail, on the other hand, ranges in color. She can be bright yellow like the male or almost completely black. Scientists believe that the completely black form of the female eastern tiger swallowtail is because she uses mimicry. There is another very common butterfly called the potvine swallowtail. This butterfly has a very unpleasant taste, so when predators eat her, they do not want to eat her again. The female eastern tiger swallowtail uses deceptive coloration with mimicry in order to make herself look like that unpleasant tasting potvine swallowtail and keep herself from getting eaten. Butterflies are very important to us, so we want to make sure we do everything we can in order to protect them. One of the easiest ways you can help butterflies is to plant a pollinator garden. Before planting a garden, you want to familiarize yourself with the species of butterflies that you want to attract. Once you do this, you can start planting plants. When planting, you want to make sure you provide plants and shrubs that provide for the butterfly in all stages of its life cycle. So you want to plant host plants as well as plants packed full of nectar that provide the butterfly with food. You also want to focus on planting native species over exotic species because these butterflies have adapted to these plants that are native here. In addition to planting, you want to make sure you cut back on the use of chemicals such as herbicide and pesticide. These chemicals can actually harm and kill butterflies, so we want to make sure we limit the use of those. And when you plant your garden, you want to take into account that butterflies are cold-blooded. This means that the butterfly's body temperature matches that of the environment. So a general rule is that butterflies only fly when temperatures are about 60 to 108 degrees Fahrenheit. So when you plant your garden, you want to make sure that you pick a very warm and sunny place for these plants to grow. If you're interested in more information on butterflies and planting a garden full of native species, make sure you check out the Georgia Department of Natural Resources Wildlife Resources Division website on butterflies and native plants found in Georgia. Thank you for watching this video on butterflies.